Now I will create a new folder uh, which will go by the name of models, and in this models folder I will create a new JS file with the name of user.model.js. Okay, this model.js file will be responsible for using as object relation mapping with the table that we will create in our database. So I will be needing something like username, email, and age. Please note that this ID is something like, if we go to this users, so right now there are no users, but anyhow, let me add something, insert a document. This object ID, right? This object ID will be unique for each entry, so we won't be needing anything inside um, in our model by the name of something like an ID or stuff like this, because it will be auto generated by for us by MongoDB. So I'm just gonna import few things, and then for me the user schema will be something like this, and then the schema will go like this, and here I will be needing username, email, and age. So username is basically string, email is something like, it's also string, and then age is basically an integer, right? That's it. After that I will pass on timestamps. This is necessary for updating any record in the database. When it's done, then I will export this, and it will go something like by the name of user, and then user schema. Okay, that's it. Now my model is created. It's time to get the data from our users table. So what I'm gonna do here is I will insert a document, and here I will just paste something like this, Jamal, and email goes like this. I'm manually inserting few documents, and 32 is enough. Insert. Okay, and here I will say Hussein and 22. Right, so I have two documents here, and I want to get all the documents here. So how will I get all the documents here, right? It's really simple. I will walk you through how you can get all the documents. So now we will rewrite the routes here, and for that, first of all, we will import our user model from something like models, and that user, right? So our model is imported, and user.model.js. So our model is imported, and then what we're going to do is we will be making some calls to the database, and it will go here, right? I will just comment this portion here and comment this too. In the try and catch section, what I'm going to do is I want to return all the users. So it's pretty simple. User dot find, right? What it's gonna do, it's going to return all the users that's here in this schema, in this database, right? User, then this is a callback function. It's going to return me users, and then I can do anything with these users, and if something happens, then I have to do, like, I have to catch the exception whatever happens here, right? So if I get all the users, I can say response to send users, and I can just say flag true. If I want to see how many users are returned, so object.keys will help us, right? That's it. Now I just want to I will say 500 bed requests, not the status, 500, and here I will just send flag is false and message sorry something went wrong, right? And if you want to send the message, that's up to you. If you want to just log the message here, you can just print it here. That's it. Now I want to test this, and if it's working, I will be getting all the users from this database, right? If it's not working, so obviously I will be having some error over here, right? Let me just print this error. So get back to the terminal and hit npm start. Okay, so we have this error, right? We have this error, cannot find module models user dot model dot js. Okay, I think this was the error. Let me rerun this again. Okay, another error, int is not defined, no problem. Number is here. Okay, perfect, all the errors are removed. Now I have to check if I'm going to get all the users here, right? So what I'm going to do, I will make call to this user's route, right? Okay, I have got an error 404, and what is the error? Not found error, which means that there is nothing, like it has okay, right. All right, I'm calling a wrong. I'm calling this delete thing. I should not be calling this delete thing. Perfect. I was calling the wrong route here. You should be using like the get request for getting all the users, right? So I successfully got all the users here with the proper ID, right? Now I'm interested in getting a single user. So how I can rewrite this route, this one, the with the ID, right? It's really simple. Since we have our record stored with a unique ID, right? So all we can do here is we are passing the ID over here in as a parameter. So once we pass on this ID followed no with the sorry with this user's route, if we pass on this ID, right? So we should be getting this single user. And how we can achieve this? We have got the ID here. All we have to do is comment this portion and what I have to do here is I have to find by ID, and in this ID I have to pass this ID which I'm getting from the request URL, right? So if that ID does exist in the database, then return me that single user, okay? Else, if there is no such user, so just catch that error, or if something went wrong, so catch that error, and with the bad request send me that flag true and message I don't know what's wrong with my keyboard. And here I will just print out the error. And if the user is found successfully, so with the status of 200, okay, send me that user, flag should be true, and that's all, right? Now if I just check on that specific user, so see, we are just getting a single user, right? If I remove this here and I just copy and paste this another user ID, so see, we are getting response perfectly. We have wrote two routes here. The first one was getting all the users. The second one is getting only one user. Now we will go to this part and we will see how we can add a new user, right? It's also really simple. All you have to do is just get create a new user, right? You can just pass on the body, which whatever is coming, right, as it is to the route. Let me just show you, right? If I console log and do my body, right, just print out this body over here, and if I send the post request here, this user's route, and in the body section, if I send something like this JSON, and all I'm interested in is something like this username, email, and age. So I can have something like username, new user, and email, new email, and age 33. If I send request to this route in console.log, this username, email, and age is printed over here. So what I can do here is I can save this user as it is in the database, but prior to that I have to create a new user. And how I can create this, I can create this user, something like this, and a new user, and I can just pass on my body, right? And if I display this over here in console.log and I send a request over here, so you will see that I will get a user as it is over here with like proper ID generated, with the username that will be fetched from the request which I will be sending this route, and everything else. So all I have to do here now is just save this in the database, right? So how I can do this? I can do something like this, user.save, and if it's saved successfully, then you can do something like straight away send the request to the user, or it's up to you. Like I just want that you send a response to the user like that user was created. Okay, let me just minimize this so you guys can see it properly. Response status to send, and I can just do here flag true, and message would be new user is created, right? But if that is not the case, you can send this response with 500 flag is false, and sorry, something went wrong. Okay, so now if the user is successfully created, it will give us this response. If that user is not created successfully, so it will give us that response, right? And let me run this again. Perfect, new user is created. Let's verify this and see, now we have 3 users. If I want to create another user, by the name of something like foo and some dummy email. And if I save this, and here you will see 4 of the users are created, right? So we have now created 3 of the main routes, the post and the get request. Now we will see how we can update a certain user. It's also simple, really simple. We are already getting the ID of the user, and from the body of the request we are getting the body over here. So what we have to do is all we have to do here is first of all find by ID and update. So first of all we have to find that specific record by the ID, okay, and if that is successful, okay, all right, yes, we have to, yes, all right, we have to pass on the ID, and after that we have to pass on some arguments that if you find something with that ID, so change its properties with the stuff that you are getting from the request body, right, which we are already storing over here. And after that, if that doesn't exist, so we will assume that it's a new record, right? And if all of these things are successful, so we will go something like this, and then all we can do here is that some message with the flag true and the user is updated successfully, right? And if some error happens, we can go like this. Something went wrong, and try again. Okay, for the sake of testing, I will print out this error over here. So if I am going to update the user, I will just pass on that ID, and whatever I want to change, I will just send it over here in the request body, right? So I will just create this new tab and copy and paste here, and now I will just say a put request. Let's suppose I'm interested in changing my name from Jamal to Jamal Hussain. So I will just copy this and I will paste it over here. Okay, copy this and paste it over here, and in body I want to change my name only. So how can I change it? In JSON I will just send my username, yes, exactly, my username to Jamal Hussain. And let's suppose I want to change my email also, so I will pass on my email something like hossein@yahoo.com. Okay. Now if everything is working fine, I will be getting this response. If some error happens, I will be getting this response. Let's just check. It should be a put request, and let's hope. Perfect. The user is updated successfully. Now let's just check. And as you can see, my username is not changed because I mistakenly wrote W here. Let me change this. The username, send this, and alright, I made silly mistakes, and since the attribute is set to new, so it has created new records for me, which is perfectly fine. There is nothing wrong with that. Let's just change this one. It's working because all I done was I mistakenly did the wrong, like passed the wrong parameter over here, but you got the whole idea, right? Now we will create the delete route. Okay, if you set this false, what will happen, that it will not create a new record, right? So just, it's your own preference. If you want to make a new record, you can set this to true. If you don't want a new record, you can set this to false. Okay, now the last route, which is like deleting a record, and it's also simple, really simple. In fact, we can just say user dot find by id and remove, right? And just pass on that id. If that is successful, it's going to return me the user. And if a user comes back, all we can do is user is deleted, or some error happens, then we can say we can just print out the error here. All right, it's not necessary to put on semicolons, but I'm used to like putting semicolons. So JavaScript gives you this flexibility if you forget the semicolon, so it forgives you for that. Well, we have find and remove, and response status 200. Everything is okay. If that is working, we should have this thing. If it's not working, we will have an error. So let's just check. Delete. So I am interested in deleting this record, right? So first of all, I will just copy this, paste this here, and then copy this and paste it over here. I don't know why it's not copying here. Let me copy this here manually. Run this, and user is deleted. It's here, Jamal with Hussein at Yahoo, and it's gone now. I want to delete this one. User is deleted. It's gone. So we have created all of our routes. In fact, we rewrote all of our routes. I think we don't need these. I will just delete them. And I will also delete this. And that's it. So let me just rephrase, not rephrase, just quickly recap what I have done. We created our model, and this model is linked with whatever we are having here. So in our API, we rewrote the routes for this specific model, and we got all the users. We just got a single user. We saved a new user to the database, and we updated that user, and then we deleted that user. You have to follow these conventions properly. For delete, you have to use router.delete. For updating a user, you have to patch or put, both are same. And for saving a user, you have to use this post request. For getting a user, you have to use this get request, right? And with that, we are done creating a complete web API in Node.js framework. So I hope you have got pretty much a lot of information from these 3 videos, and I will be uploading this code right now to my GitHub repository. See, this is everything that we have done, and that will be initial commit with final touches, and just commit to main and publish my repository. I will be sharing this link with you guys in my YouTube description. So you can just clone my repository, and then you can just write what's this called, like npm install, and it will install all the dependencies in your local machine, and then you can say npm start, right? And it will start your project. Okay, if you guys have any question, please leave a comment and I will try to answer you guys. Please share this video with your friends, and I will come back with more series like this. Thank you, and see you next time.